Hey y'all, hey, and welcome to Drawing Conclusions with me, Christina B. I'm back today with a short case for you. Today we're going to be talking about Simone Biles Brother. And everybody knows Simone Biles. She's a world famous gymnast. She's been to the Olympics where she's gotten many gold medals, silver medals, what have you. But this case is not about her, it's about her brother. And this is a very interesting case. It happened back in 2018, but has just come to a conclusion in 2021. I just heard about it like 4 days ago and thought it was interesting. Surprised it didn't get more traction, being that, he's the brother of a celebrity. But let's discuss. So at a New Year's Eve party in Cleveland, Ohio, December 31st, 2018, an uninvited group entered a house party at an Airbnb rental. This uninvited group came to the party at around 11:30 p.m. Now, of course, an altercation took place between the uninvited group of people and the invited partygoers. And this altercation resulted in shots being fired. Multiple people at the party were shot, and 3 young men were killed. They were Devon Gibson, 21, Delvante Johnson, 19, and Toshawn Banks, 21. It's been said that Delvante and Toshawn were best friends, and at the time of their deaths, they both had girlfriends that were pregnant. About 7 months after their deaths, both women did give birth, and they now each have a beautiful daughter. Tevin Biles-Thomas, who is now 26, was one of those uninvited guests, and he was charged with 3 counts each of aggravated murder and felonious assault in the fatal shooting. He was also charged with perjury after allegedly lying to the grand jury when he testified that he did not have a gun at the time of the incident, nor did he know that Devon Gibson was dead. It was later found that he and Gibson were cousins. Prosecutors say that Tevin opened fire on Delvante Johnson and Toshawn Banks after they attacked Gibson, his cousin, and then once he started to shoot at them, Johnson shot back. They claim that Tevin killed Johnson and Banks, but that Johnson killed Gibson. It's messy. It's a lot going on. And then this is just what the prosecution thinks happened. But even though this is their thought process, there is actually no physical evidence that ties Tevin to the shooting. So they don't have a gun that has his fingerprints on it or that was registered him. They don't have anything concrete that says he was there and he fired these shots that ultimately killed these 3 men. The investigation relied heavily on 2 eyewitnesses. Now, these 2 eyewitnesses, though they initially both claimed to have seen what happened, they both had very vastly different descriptions of who the shooter were. And neither of their descriptions really looked like or would have led you to believe that it was Tevin that was the shooter. Both witnesses did eventually ID Tevin as the shooter based on the clothes that he was wearing when they were shown a surveillance videotape by the detectives. The first witness finally admitted that they had never saw the shooter and they couldn't say for sure that it was Tevin. The other witness also admitted that they did not see Tevin shoot and that they were only saying what they had heard other people at the gathering say. So ultimately, neither witness was reputable and their statements really didn't mean anything. Once they were cross-examined on the stand, it came out they actually hadn't seen Tevin's face. They hadn't seen him as the shooter, and they had only identified him based off of a surveillance video that they had been shown by the detectives. So these statements really didn't hold much weight in court. And it also came out about the second witness as he was being cross-examined. He was actually getting a reduction in one of his previous charges if he was willing to testify in this case against Tevin, which of course makes his credibility go even further down because most people would say anything to have their prison time reduced. So it can be argued that he's lying just to benefit himself. Tevin's perjury charge was also thrown out before he even got to court. And during the first trial, yes, the first trial, there were 2. During the first trial, jurors saw legal briefs that they were not intended to see when looking through the evidence that was given to the jury. These legal briefs being mixed into the trial evidence caused the trial to end suddenly in a mistrial. It's unclear how the briefs ended up in the evidence given to jurors. But the documents did disclose a debate between prosecutors and Tevin's lawyers about whether he acted in self-defense during the shooting. After several of the jurors saw this evidence, they did say that this would change their minds or weigh heavily in the decision they made when finding Tevin innocent or guilty. So the trial was declared a mistrial, and they decided to start over. So a little over a month later, in June of 2021, they went ahead for trial number 2. And at the conclusion of this second trial, a judge in Cuyahoga County acquitted Tevin. This judge granted a motion filed by Tevin's lawyers that stated that the prosecutors had failed to provide enough evidence to justify a guilty verdict. The burden of proof is put on the prosecutors. This means they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this person is guilty. Tevin's lawyer said they didn't do that, and the judge agreed. The judge stated, "I came to the conclusion that there was insufficient evidence to sustain a conviction, and thus they dismissed the case." Moments after the judge announced their decision, Delvante Johnson's mother charged at and tried to attack Tevin, screaming, "You killed my boy. You killed my baby." She was stopped by officers before making contact with him. Tevin maintained his innocence during this whole ordeal from the very beginning through the whole 2.5 years of trials and waiting. He maintained that he was innocent and did not have any part in this. And as of now, he's a free man. So what do you guys think? I think this is a really sketchy case in that it's no way that you're ever really going to know what happened. In that kind of incident where there's an altercation that takes place between two groups of people, there's no way of saying who pulled a gun, who shot the gun, because there's so many different people, there's so many hands being played. So I do feel like legally that the judge was correct with the amount of evidence, which was 2 very shaky eyewitnesses that inevitably didn't see anything. You can't say that Tevin did anything or that he's guilty. So the courts, in my opinion, had no other choice but to dismiss the case or to find him not guilty. That's not to say that he didn't do it. That's just to say that we don't know, and the prosecution couldn't prove it. I do hope that the families of the 3 young men will one day get justice in this case. But thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. Please like, share, subscribe. Comment down below. Talk shit if you got to. I thank you for being here with me this afternoon. I love you. Be great. Be you. I'll see you soon.